250 miles at one of the great racetracks on the NASCAR circuit. Here we go, race 2, round of 8. We are green at Talladega Superspeedway.
Real hooked up on the bottom already there. Christian Eckes right in the back bumper. Jesse Love real disconnected on the top. That's going to rocket those two out in front.
Yes, just so you know, they'll let those front groups hook bumpers through turns 1 and 2. Once you get to the back stretch, you got to release, let that car go. You cannot push all the way around the racetrack.
You know, yesterday in the Truck Series race, same rules apply, and they were very aggressive with the pushes and how far they carried it. I thought they put NASCAR in some tough spots. We'll see how that pans out today. They continue side by side into turn 3 for the first time.
Such a long ways around here. At the start of this race, it looked like that inside row was going to be checked out as the momentum came back on the outside. See that all race long. Start-finish line obviously being way around here on the front stretch.
High-speed pace lap through the tri-oval. Jamie said it. Start-finish line right there.
Jesse Love was already trying to control the lanes as they came off for 2 on the first lap there. William Swalwich was able to come back on the outside, as you mentioned, Jamie, and that was really from the push of Carson Quapo, who got to his back bumper through 1 and 2. This is pretty even lines right now. This is when you're just assessing which line maybe has a little more momentum. Everyone's trying to figure out their cars a little bit. Remember, no practice. You only had 1 lap in qualifying to feel your car out unless you made it to round 2. You got 2 laps, basically. And that's this portion right now. You're just sort of assessing what's the car do, how does it feel, is handling going to be a thing as we watch Jesse Love move up there to the top side to protect that top lane and right back to the bottom.
Yeah, and typically you'll see that bottom line stay a little more organized. When you're in the second groove on the outside, you see Taylor Gray on the very, very top in that white and yellow 54. They'll make it 3 wide, and that makes the outside row get shorter and shorter, and whatever line is longer, it typically has the most momentum. Look at the run. It's Sheldon Creed right there on the outside, the red, white, and blue 00.
Yeah, the middle line there got checked up, and you see how separated they are right now all throughout that middle line. That allowed that outside line to form up and get a bit of momentum. Sheldon Creed dips out of that, and that white and blue 00 there into the center line and left Nick Sanchez on the outside, pops back to the outside now.
Creed going to the outside of Brandon Jones. Let's get an update. Driver 20. Here's Dylan.
Yeah, well, we were going to hear so much today about how important radio and spotter communication is. The 20 team had a little radio scare at the start of this race. Take a listen.
All my stuff's brand new. I just had it worked on this week, and it's been great. Neither one of you has done it right to me since we started talking. Y'all been staticky to me the whole time. So bad.
The problem was on the backstretch. Brandon was having trouble hearing spotter Chris Lambert. They said that Lambert was going to be critical for them today in their success. He's one of the best spotters on the roof spots for Denny Hamlin on Sundays. They switched to a backup radio, and the problem seems to have been fixed.
So I think the only way that we can compare that is if you've ever had a bad cell signal and you're trying to comprehend what somebody's saying. They don't have time in the cars to think like that. When the spotter says something, you need to make that decision immediately. And if you're trying to process what they're saying, you think about how aggravating that can be, Parker.
And there's the idea of if your spotter isn't talking or talking, you think there's issues. You don't. Yeah, what's happening, and should I make this move? And did they see that or not? And so it just adds so much of you questioning exactly what's happening at that moment, and you can't have that when you have to make split-second decisions.
Brendan Queen, 11.99. Connor Mozak, a couple of drivers we don't always see racing in the Xfinity Series. Some contact right here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a checkup, it looks like, right there. They did a nice job. That could have been bad where the 99 gets into the back of Brendan right there. See, they lost their momentum. That whole row started to check up. I'm liking what I'm seeing on the top, though. If we look about halfway back in that pack, the red, white, and blue 00 car, Sheldon Creed is really committed. He's got Nick Sanchez right behind him, who has the fast car. It's a kind of affiliated with the RCR group, great engines. But Sheldon's committed, and they've got 3 or 4 guys behind them also committed. And if you can keep that group together, they will be able to work their way to the front. I don't know if they can get all the way to the front, but that bottom line, sometimes those get checked up with people on the entry to the corner and allows the outside to catch up.
And then as they work their way forward, I wonder if some of those guys in that middle lane start jumping up in front of them to continue to help the energy in that outside lane. We're 6 laps in. It's stage 1 at Talladega. I give you the Mobil 1 leaderboard. Jesse Love, William Sawalich up front, and they're there with Quapo, Eckes, and Jeb Burton. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Take a risk and make your power play by heading to your local lottery retailer to get in the game for tonight's estimated Powerball jackpot of $295 million.
You would not see me tomorrow. I can tell you right now.
I already knew that answer.
I will be out.
How about this racing? I mean, we got a little bit of a breakaway here at the front, but then behind these first 4 or 5 in that bottom lane, maybe 6 of them there, 3 wide, a lot of chucking and jiving and dicing going on.
It's been all over the place. A lot has happened here. The third lane came into fray there for a second, which was led by Sheldon Creed. They got all the way up to maybe 3rd or 4th for a second. Then the middle lane started to struggle a little bit, and the bottom lane became dominant. So it's just been a lot of moving around and seeing which lanes are working. It doesn't seem like, to me, as I watch this, any particular lane looks like the one to be in. Maybe the ones that, whatever one the RCR cars are leading. But other than that, it seems to be very even across the 3 lanes.
Yeah, I'm here with Jeff Burton, State Water Heaters onboard camera.
Yeah, a lot of those guys you see in the middle are actually on the bottom. The previous lap, they've moved up. I think everybody's trying to figure out where they can get to the front the best. You see that white and blue number 21 right there. You do not want to get those 2 cars hooked up, and they are now. It's going to be a really hard group of cars, both being RCR. We know how dominant they've been at these tracks. And the guy behind them in the green and blue, number 19, Eric Almirola, he's won at the cup level at tracks like this. Always a threat when we come to a dragging track.
Jesse Love is in a comfortable place, leading at Talladega. Led 28 in the 2 laps here last year. Led 50 laps here in the spring. He's now led laps in all of his 12 career starts in the draft. This kid is so impressive and so quickly just gripped on to this style of racing. I know he's with RCR. I know how fast their cars are. But to watch him do what he's doing right now is flat impressive.
And to your point, just watch how often he's moving that car lane to lane. It's multiple times down each straightaway that he's protecting and covering different lanes, killing their momentum, then seeing another lane get momentum, covering that, and he moves all over the racetrack. And who did he really learn that from? I feel like in a lot of respects, the man behind him, the 21 Austin Hill, who's probably the master of doing that exact thing. Jesse Love has really gone to school on that, and he's showing it here today. He consistently moves at the exact right times to cover those lanes.
Let's listen to their team as he executes out front.
Still by 1 1/4 to 21. 3 to the bottom, 27, no help them. Help us with us. About 1 1/2, now 7's helping the 27. Too far detached, so inside. Come down half. All right, now stay off them. Keep 21 though.
As you listen to the communication between the spotter and the driver, I can't tell you how mentally exhausted you are when one of these races is over, because as you listen to all that as a driver, you're trying to process it. You're also looking in the rearview mirror. The whole time here, he sees the 21 coming up behind him, and you're trying to time out. Are they going to pass? Are they going the inside? Are they going the outside? And then everything that spotter's telling you, when these races are over, you're just mentally, you're just exhausted.
Over halfway through our first stage, Love has led 11 laps.
Got very loose there.
And he continues to control this field, but boy, is he working hard out front. And this move was key for Love to get ahead of the curve and take the top spot. Starts on the pole, and he is in charge. Driver 2 getting it done at Talladega Superspeedway.
Men, get ahead of your curve with a bump.
Oh, my.
You saw it in our side-by-side coverage. Big crash at Talladega, and with that, the Whelen caution lights are on. Whelen, the official warning lights of NASCAR and America's most trusted manufacturer of emergency lights and sirens. Playoff drivers involved. You see the heavy damage for the 00 of Sheldon Creed. His teammate Sam Mayer got a piece. Brandon Jones was damaged. We highlight Jeb Burton as the big one transpires here at Dega.
Right, this is through the tri-oval. This is when the cars are most on edge right here. You see Jeb gets in the back of Sheldon Creed, gets loose, goes up the track, and gets into a variety of different cars here.
It almost looks like
Melee
the
breaks
00
out.
had to check up a little bit, getting loose. Jeb got into them a little bit, knew he was slowing down and moved up. I'd like to know what was in front of the 00, or did he have an issue? You see he's right behind Sawalage. It's like they all checked up just a little bit.
Yep.
Kind of the accordion effect. Jones hooks him in the right rear.
And that is the most treacherous place of Talladega for these race cars. The cars the most on edge through that tri-oval, especially on the bottom. It's very flat. There's very little banking, and any sort of touch in your rear bumper really upsets the car. You said that correctly. Obviously, Sheldon was checking up a little bit to not get into the back of William Sawalage there through the tri-oval. Jeb got in the back of him, got loose because of that, tried to move at the racetrack, and then everyone was just involved. But basically that stems from just how on edge the cars are through this section right here.
Yeah, you see all those cars stacked up on each other. The backs of these cars are just extremely light. Part of the reason being is that there's no banking there. Once they get into turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, there's so much banking. So we ride on board with Daniel Dye right here and get his perspective. Oh, he doesn't.
Wow,
Great job sliding through all that. I would like to tell you that was skill. His eyes were closed. And a little bit of luck that happened right there.
We're on board here with Jeb. So there's the tap of the rear bumper of Sheldon Creed. He moves up, tags Brandon Jones there.
And he got some damage.
A little bit.
But overall, he was able to sneak through. And I rewind to the springtime. He had damage in that race, too, and was in position to win it.
Yeah, and as you watch Jeb there, I think it would be easy to blame him for what happened, but he's trying to check up. The back of his car's light. He's trying to gather that. He didn't want to move up. It's almost, that's just where his car ends up. The 20 was on his outside. And as you said, Parker, it's just such a sketchy part of the track for all these guys.
Ryan Sieg had his car destroyed. Harrison Burton gets damaged. Jordan Anderson roughed up as well. We'll give you the car count on how many were involved and how bad the damage is in just a second. First, let's go 27, Team Radio and Jeb Burton's group.
00 got loose or something. 00 checked up. I ran in the back of him, and then that just all hell broke loose.
And as you listen to that, it happens fast, right? Inside the car, I thought that was exactly what we saw. He wasn't sure why hell broke loose, right? It all happens so quick inside of the car, and it just takes such a slight contact there of the 20 getting into the right rear quarter of Sheldon, and then once the wreck starts, it's just you're along for the ride when you're behind that.
And it's early to be pushing through there. That's something you do later in the race, later in stage 3, when you're really trying to make up time, make momentum happen through there as you're fighting maybe particularly for the end, towards the win. But at this point in the race, I think one of the reasons you saw Sheldon sort of check up there was he was trying to play it a little bit safe when he caught William Sawalage in front of him. But in doing so, it sort of set his destiny of getting run in the back by Jeb Burton.
Look at the updated standings here with these drivers that have received damage. Mayer came in +8. He's now shown -6. Sammy Smith is in the game, but he came in 24 points out. With everything that has transpired. He now showed 10 below the cut line. Brandon Jones was below the cut coming in. Same for Sheldon Creed. They've lost more ground. And Carson Quapple, 22 out when the day began, +6, and he's running in a pretty good spot here today. The big one happens in stage 1 at Talladega. Playoff drivers involved, 10 cars damaged in this crash that brings out the caution. We got inside of 10 laps to go. Stage 1. You're watching the Xfinity Series on CW. CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle home, auto, and motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express Card. Sheldon Creed, one of the drivers involved in this early crash here at Talladega Superspeedway. Backing things up, going to pull it into the garage. Window net is down.
There's no body work left on that race car.
Man, starting to look like a modified,
yeah.
You know? Brandon Jones sitting idle. And we're now under the red flag, and so these teams can assess what they want to do. But because we're under the red flag, NASCAR rules indicate you can't work on the race car. So you put your plan in place so the minute that we go back to yellow, you can start the process to getting things where you want them. As we get ready to celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary next July, the CW is honoring the people who make our country so special. It's all part of My American Story, and we're kicking things off with NASCAR's own Connor Zilisch, who's got an incredible story to share.
Hey, I'm Connor Zilisch, and this is My American Story. My parents, my mom and my dad, have been behind me since day one, and this sport is not easy. There's been a lot of uncertainty along the way. Nobody in my family let me quit, and I think that's why I'm sitting here today. Every day I wake up and I remember 10-year-old me with a dream, and 10-year-old me is what motivates me. Like, I wanted to get to the highest level, and I wanted to be winning races and championships. Nobody's gonna sit around and wait for you. You gotta put the effort in and wake up every day knowing that if you don't do it, somebody else will. Winning a championship, I'm guessing you would probably see tears out of me.
Brought to you by the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed.
I would say there would be tears if he won the championship. There should be.
Of course, what a season.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great comment by Connor right there. A lot of times when you see emotions, not just from race car drivers, but from athletes in general, it's because of how hard they've worked to get there. Everything that they've sacrificed, everything that they've done. And when you finally get that major success or that huge win, it's like just a sigh of relief, and the emotions sometimes overtake you.
And living up to the dream that you've set out to accomplish, and everything it takes to go after this, and your family, and you mentioned his family, what they put into it, especially in the motorsports realm. It really takes a full commitment from the full family to go after this and try to make it into a career. And with the season he has had, the ups and downs and everything that's incurred this year, I definitely would not blame him for being emotional.
He's in the round of 8, so is his teammate Sammy Smith. They're just outside the top 10 as we sit here under the red flag. Sammy Smith came in 24 below the cut line. No margin for error. Might need to win to advance to the championship 4. And watch him come through this accident through the tri-oval.
I mean, they cleared out just right in time for Sammy. You want to depend on your spotter there, but that's really just on the brakes, kind of looking around, and it's instinct to get through those moments and luck.
The one thing I will say is he had a slight advantage, which was actually being at the back of the pack, so you don't have to look behind you as much. You can get on the brakes a little bit harder, give yourself more time to assess where all the cars in front of you are headed, where they're sort of going as they get hit into each other, and go, okay, this is the path I'm going to go towards. It's those cars in the middle of that pack that we say is sort of the danger zone. The reason being, it's not only because it's most likely where the wreck will occur, but if you're trying to avoid it, you have so many cars behind you that can run into the back of you and force you into the wreck. If you're riding towards the back of it, it gives you a little bit more time.
Well, your reaction is to get on the brakes hard immediately and get slowed down, but there's been so many wrecks happen because the car in front gets slowed down and the one behind doesn't know it's there and gets run over.
We referenced that we're under the red flag. Part of that is cleaning up all the debris from this big incident, but they also had to do some repair, as you can see here, to the safer barrier. AMR safety team is on it. We're back to Talladega in a moment. The newest show in the iconic TV series Law & Order Toronto, Criminal Intent, is on the CW. From the same team that brought you the original series, this time a new city on a new network. Law & Order Toronto, Criminal Intent. New episode Wednesday, 8/7 Central right here on the CW. Today, it's the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff race, Talladega Superspeedway, the big one, always a part of the equation. And we're under the red flag because we did have the big one, stage 1, middle of the tri-oval.
Yeah, you see right there in the middle of your screen, the yellow number 20 get turned. It's going to come back up, hook Sheldon Creed. All these guys behind trying to avoid. It's just so hard to do. We've referenced Jeb Burton. You see Daniel Dye in that red and yellow number 10 sneak through. A few of those guys, they get a little bit lucky. Look at Sammy Smith right there sneaking through.
Right, with this such a treacherous part of the racetrack. The cars are so light through that tri-oval. Any taps the rear bumper are going to upset the car in front. That's what happened to Sheldon Creed and Jeb Burton, who went up the racetrack a little bit and got into Brandon Jones and caused all this. It's what we see often at Talladega. You put a pack of cars 3 abreast, you can have accidents like this.
Tough break for the Ford family of drivers. Harrison Burton got damaged. Creed done for the day. Sam Mayer had a wounded race car. Ryan Sieg also done for the afternoon, down to Kim.
Yeah, and Ryan Sieg out of the care center, and we just watched that replay, and you were tensed up and kind of holding your breath watching it again. So what can you tell us from the seat of your car on what happened?
Yeah, I just saw the 20 sideways, and then I was just along for the ride and just thought I was through it, and then the 00 just came right up in front of me, which I didn't even have time to brace. So it's like those are always a little harder when you don't know nothing's coming. But it looks like some of them guys were pushing a little heavy through the travel where the cars are already light. They've been pretty, free all day, and then just a little heavy on the pushing at lap 13.
Were you surprised to see such a big wreck so early?
Of course. It's lap 13. But no, in all, we had a fast Syapps Ford. We were making our way to the front like we needed to be and tried to stay out of the wrecks, but sums up our 25 season, just wrong place, wrong time. But just hats off to everybody that worked so hard with Haas and Syapps and Ford. Just sucks to end so early.
Got to agree with Ryan there. It's been a tough season for them. It seems like anything that could go wrong has gone wrong at times for that race team. But I agree with him on the fact that, lap 13, you're not expecting a lot of pushing through the tri-oval. It's just too dangerous. The cars are too on edge. It's something you see late in stage 3 or the end of a stage in terms of going for the points at that point in time, because the cars are just so hard to push through there. It's a massive risk that you take through there. And I think what caused a lot of this was Sheldon Creed playing it a little bit safe, trying not to get in the back bumper of Sawalich, and Jeb just didn't react quick enough to the 00 checking up.
We continue under red with that and have an opportunity to go over to the CW garage and say good afternoon to Carla Metz.
Yeah, holding things down here in the CW garage. Adam, a lot happening in this race so far, but a lot happening in the sport earlier this week. Some big headlines to get to in the series this week. One immediately impacting Viking Motorsports, who announced this week that Connor Mosack will drive the number 99 for the remaining 3 races of the season, replacing Matt DiBenedetto. And then an even bigger announcement, right? Justin Allgaier's crew chief, Jim Pullman, going to finish out the season with the number 7 before moving to RCR to become Kyle Busch's crew chief in the Cup Series. That's going to happen next season. Allgaier told me this week, he said, yes, of course, I was sad when we sat down to talk about it, but I told him, you'd be crazy not to take this. He said, I'm just happy to have been a part of his story, to showcase his abilities. He's worked so hard his whole career for this opportunity. And he added, Adam, I'd love nothing more than to end this time, his time at JRM, with another championship. So these next couple of weeks mean even more for that 17.
Yeah, Pullman told me this week, Carla, that he's looking forward to working with a couple of Hall of Famers next year at NASCAR's top level. But I just think of the residual impact in 2026, all these changes at Junior Motorsports. 25 has been magnificent, but that organization is going to look totally different next season.
Definitely will, and I think for Jim Pullman, this is something he always wanted to do, is to race on Sundays and go have that opportunity. And it's a shame for Justin Allgaier, of course, with all they've done together. I feel like Justin really handpicked him and wanted him to be the crew chief of this 7 car. It led to finally getting that championship. That's going to be tough to replace. And a big risk for Pullman from some people, I think, in terms of going there to work with Kyle Busch, trying to get him back in victory lane. I'm of the opinion Kyle Busch still can get back to victory lane.
I tell you what, if you zoom in on that headset just a little bit, you see Jim Pullman's nickname right there. They call him Pooh Bear. Great guy. He's been around forever in the sport. He's worked on a lot of teams that I've been a part of. I remember when he was a tire changer. I think it's really cool, and we saw that the Connor Zilic, American story. Same thing for these crew chiefs, right? I mean, he started out, he's raced a little bit, but he's worked his way up the ladder, and to get to go and work with a guy like Kyle Busch, good for him. I think everyone in general in the garage is thrilled for Jim.
Let's continue this theme and get a little 7 radio here.
That's probably why you have won most popular driver multiple times and hopefully win it again.
I really, really want to make a comment right now about you going to the Cup side, but it's too soon. Even though I'm joking, I don't want you to think I'm mad at you.
I'm not trying to get the full context.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm missing something here.
We missed the first part of that story, but those two guys have been friends for a long time, and I think Justin's very sincere when he says that he's happy for Jim being able to move on. It clearly puts Justin in a unique situation where you possibly, you won the championship last year. He's going to be in a position most likely to win it again this year, and he's going to have a different crew chief next year. So, yeah, it's a unique situation for Justin.
Getting word they're going to refire the engines, lift the red flag, go back under caution as we wait things out here. Back to the Care Center and more with Kim Kuhn.
That's right, Jeremy Clements release, and you came out shaking your head and you looked at me and you said, unreal. What was your take on that incident? And then what took you out of the race? Because when you drove the car behind the wall, it did not look that bad.
Kim, I didn't even break a sweat. I mean, we barely got going and just trying all the different lines, seeing what our all-South electric Chevy liked, trying to be as fast as Xfinity Mobile. But, yeah, I don't even really know what happened. I know we were coming up on a lap car, the 74, and then we were all trying to get by him, and then I saw the 20 get jacked up. And then from there, I was just in the middle of it. So I still haven't seen a replay, but, yeah, it's just unfortunate. And once we started going back, I'm missing about half my left front brake rotor, so I had no brakes. So, unfortunately, we were going to need the minimum speed and then fix that, so we weren't able to. But here we go. Oh, okay. 27. Oh, yeah.
What are you seeing? What are you oh-yang?
Well, it looked like the 27 got in the back of the 00, shot him into the 20, and then all carnage broke loose. It's Talladega. I just hate we were 13 laps in the race and not 94. That's unfortunate. I want to thank Chuck Kuhn and all the guys from All South Electric, Chevy, everybody coming on board, Alliance Driveway Solutions. But we'll just have to go to get them at Martinsville.
Jeremy had a top 10 finish at Bristol in the playoff opener. Last few weeks, not as good, and today ending with disappointment as well. And this kind of a home game for them, not too far from their shop in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Typically when we have a wreck like this, it calms everything down for just a little while. Everybody's like, okay, we've gotten the wreck out of the way, and things will calm down until we get to the end of the stage.
Well, it thins the field a little bit, too.
That helps a lot.
Which takes a lot of energy out of the pack, for sure. And I think it's a reality check for a lot of the drivers as well who saw what happened there, that incident through the travel, to say, okay, maybe I don't need to push through there right now.
Red flag was officially 16 minutes, 19 seconds. Everything is back repaired and where it needs to be. Pit road is open, and it looks like some drivers are going to come down here. Zilic, Taylor Gray, Dean Thompson, a few rookies. And you can pit here and then stay out at the end of the stage, make it to the end of stage 2. Let's follow up and get reports starting with Dylan.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised to see the 88 coming down pit road. They were very, very adamant just to try to take these first couple of stages. They get some stage points here, try to have things locked up for Phoenix just to do it on points, but they will come down here and change at least right side tires and go around to the left to make it 4 tires. Connor was pretty happy with his race car, said he felt like it was pretty good, so we'll see if they're able to maybe drive back through the field here in the final 7 or 8 laps or so and maybe score some stage points.
This might be a show, or yeah, you just hang at the back, take care of your race car, and then you cycle to the front when others pit at the end of the stage. We had a special visit from some of our favorite WWE NXT superstars recently who really got the full NASCAR experience, from taking part in a pit crew challenge to hitting the go-kart track with some racing tips from Sam Mayer and Cole Custer. Here it is.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, we're excited to show you guys around and see what we do around here.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I ain't gonna lie, I like this one. Yeah, it's just pretty sweet.
Scared right now.
I think it was Trick, absolutely clobbered the barrier, but He's used to clobbering things.
Yeah, that was about the coolest thing I've done in a long time.
Brought to you by the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed.
They're done. Looking for a cable news network which respects all Americans? Then you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is news for all Americans. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com. I'm ready to go racing again. Red flag of nearly 17 minutes. And extended caution period here with this accident, but we're going to have 5 laps to go when we go green to end stage 1.
The current leader is that 48 of Nick Sanchez, that brown car there on the bottom. We didn't even get really to tell this story a little bit, but
where did he come
he
from,
got
right?
to, in lap 11, he was 16th. By lap 15, he was first. He gained 15 spots in 4 laps to get the lead this race right as that wreck happened.
Well, be attentive when we go side by side, because a lot happens and you just don't miss it if you really pay attention. Among the things that happened a while ago, not just the big crash, but Nick Sanchez getting to the front. He's in control, 5 to go. RCR cars lined up outside, and Sam Mayer is taking his car to the garage, and it looks like they will be done for the afternoon.
Go.
One thing to watch for here is those front row, the front 2 rows, how they can get locked together. You see the 2 car moving around a lot. It was not only him on Austin Hill, but Allgaier got into the back of him. Look at those cars dancing around as they're trying to get up to speed. I mean, you had Jesse Love
bouncing around. The same for Allgaier. Right behind them, outside lane, green and white, Toyota number 19, Eric Almirola.
Yeah, and as you see the 21 in the middle or on the outside kind of move away from Sanchez, it's because he had a little bit of a run and didn't want the side draft to slow him down. And look at those 3 hooked together, Parker, driving by them now.
And what he could see the left of him was the 18 there of William Sawalich disconnect from the 48 of Nick Sanchez. And he knew with the 2 on his bumper, they had the momentum down the back stretch. Just get away, don't add any side draft to them. They already accomplished disconnecting those 2 and now lead the pack.
And I was curious what the 88 was going to do after making that pit stop. Look outside lane. New tires. Here comes 88 Zilich, and right there with him, Taylor Gray, who also made a pit stop.
And his teammate Carson Kvapil moved up when he saw that right there to get that momentum from the 88. Jesse Love and Austin Hill go to cover the top lane.
Austin Hill has jumped to the race lead. It's the RCR duo out front, 3 wide behind them. Bottom lane, Sanchez. Middle is Allgaier. Outside, Quapple. As we watch this racing 4 to go in the stage, here's Kim.
Now, Sheldon Creed released from the care center. Part of that incident ultimately taking you out of this race. What happened from your perspective?
Yeah, I got to see a replay, and I don't know, it just kind of looked like the 27 was pushing me to enter the tri-oval and got me a little free, which really wasn't a big deal. And then, yeah, for whatever reason, he kind of shot up the track and got the 20 in the left rear and got me in the right rear. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of the bad part about having super speedways in the playoffs is I think if you're way down, yeah, it gives you an opportunity to win and be in, but yeah, you just lose a lot of control of your destiny. So yeah, just hate it for everyone at Haas Factory Team, Ford, Roush Yates Engines, Road Ranger, Pit Boss, Ollie's, Colonel Jackson, Haas Automation, everyone that works on this 00 car every week. Just yeah, was hoping to have a good day, and yeah, now we have to watch it from the infield and gonna have to go win next week.
No doubt, 8th DNF of the year, must win next week at Martinsville. Coming to 2 to go, stage 1, Hill, Allgaier, Love out front.
Jesse Love just got so close to being turned there when he went up to try and cover Carson Quapple in the top lane. This has been madness as they've all moved around trying to get around the 21. You mentioned the 48 was the leader at the restart. He's all the way the back of this pack, had no help on that bottom lane as the momentum died on that.
One of the things we mentioned at the start of the show was kind of the keys to winning, and I mentioned use these stage breaks to set yourself up for what might happen at the end of this race. If you're Austin Hill and you're leading, how are you going to defend? If you're Carson Quapple, you see the third row car back with the Bass Pro Shops on that. What are you going to do to try to get to the front to get a win? How do you generate that run?
What a move by Jesse Love, but I don't think he's going to have the help here. He got great momentum there off of turn 2, dove to the bottom of his teammate Austin Hill, and now Connor Zilich's buddy moves to the bottom to help him out.
And look at Zilich, came down pit road, pushing his way to the front. Taylor Gray, the driver in that same situation, gonna have 1 lap to go as we come by this time.
Be interesting to see if that outside row can generate any type of a run right here as you see Zilich and Allgaier pushing each other.
Final lap, opening stage. Hill in control, but they are breathing down behind. Zilich right behind them, most recent winner in the draft. Love is there. Quapple trying to make it happen in the outside lane. And so many playoff drivers in this mix that desperately need stage points.
Oh, Jesse Love moves up to block the run. Coming on the outside. Is there any momentum up there? They're all stalling each other out.
How about Connor Zilich? Makes the decision to come down pit road, restarts outside the top 15, only had a few laps to get there, and trying to win. It's RCR versus Junior Motorsports to win the opening stage here at Talladega. And remember where the start-finish line is, a preview of what we'll see later. Through the middle of the tri-oval opening stage, goes to number 21, Austin Hill, his 7th stage win of the year, and his 15th career stage win on a drafting track. Hill wins it. Allgaier second. Love gets some much-needed stage points. Zilich in the top 5, and the same for Eric Almirola. What an opening stage at Talladega Superspeedway. We're off and rolling. It's a playoff race, and you're watching it all unfold live on CW. CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years. Golden Corral. Golden Corral honors our nation's heroes. And by Bristol Myers Squibb. Stage 1 complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Talladega Superspeedway. With that, the Whelen caution lights are on. Whelen, the official warning lights of NASCAR and America's most trusted manufacturer of emergency lights and sirens. What a thrilling finish. And I said it there coming to the line. Just pay attention to what's happening here, because it's a preview of what we're going to have at the end of Stage 2 and more importantly, at the end of this race. This is big, getting those stage points. Allgaier gets them, and he's probably going to advance anyway. Came in at plus 44. Jesse Love, though, we had 3 stages in the round of 8. Number 2 has been outstanding. Connor Zilisch comes back and gets some stage points.
And Jesse Love wins the active award there in those last 2 or 3 laps. He moved through every lane, trying to find the momentum, trying to find a partner to push him past his teammate there of Austin Hill. He couldn't make it happen, but he definitely was trying the hardest of anyone out there.
I also want to mention Nick Sanchez. He restarts in the lead, and he referenced it. I mean, he comes from the back to the front, and then on that restart, he goes back to 14th at the end of the stage.
He got stuck on the bottom and just couldn't get up, and it's one of those moments or those instances where every decision you make is the wrong one. Sometimes everything goes your way. For him, those last 4 or 5 laps, every move he made, that lane just kept going the wrong direction.
Curious to see what strategies play out here too. Do you get 2 tires, you get 4 tires, you maybe think fuel only, and then also what do you do if you're Connor Zilisch, Taylor Gray, Dean Thompson, some of those drivers that have already made a pit stop. Zilisch is coming. Progressive Pit Road is open. Here's Kim Kuhn.
And for the 2 of Jesse Love, he said the car is really good, just need rear grip. So you see that track bar going down to fuel only for his teammate Austin Hill. They would put tires on it. He said really good out front. Could stand to be 2 numbers freer to drop down more than 1 lane, Dylan.
Eric Almirola, 3rd from the bottom, had some feedback I've never heard before. He said, my car doesn't want to pull through the tires, so they're not going to make any chassis adjustments or anything. 4 tires and fuel. 4 tires and fuel for Justin Allgaier as well. Pretty happy with his balance.
Race off Progressive Pit Road. Josh Williams comes off first, plus 11. We'll investigate what happened there, what kind of strategy. Love gets a spot. Zilisch picks up 1. Nice gains for Taylor Gray, and Austin Hill goes 4 in the wrong direction on that cycle of stops. Stage 2 coming up on CW. Getting ready for stage 2. Let's do our golden moment presented by Golden Corral. Had that crash inside of 10 laps to go stage 1. Watch Connor Mozak, 99.
This couldn't be any closer as you watch these guys start to spin in front of him. He has nowhere to go, right? Oh, wow. He made it through. Incredible. He had to think that he was caught up.
He thought he was toast.
Welcome to Viking Motorsports. The bad news is he just made his pit stop too fast exiting, so he'll have to come from the rear here to begin stage 2. Kim?
Sam Mayer released from the care center. Part of that incident, the team tried to get the damage fixed, ultimately ran out of time on the DVP. So what do you make of the incident and then your team's effort to get it back on track?
Yeah, I mean, we did a really good job getting it fixed. Like, that thing was really messed up. But they did a great job, like, getting it rolling, like, where we could actually go. And just missed the DVP clock by a couple seconds. So it's a little bit silly. I wish we were still racing because I feel like that we're going to see a lot more of that. But obviously I'm going to be sitting here and watching with you guys. So we'll see how it goes. But huge shout out to everyone at Haas Factory, Ford, Audubell. I was really looking forward to this one. We talked about that earlier, but yeah, just a bummer that we get to kind of sit back and watch the points kind of just go away from us. But just really proud, and I know that we can go lay a heater down in Martinsville and be just fine.
That's Sam Mayer, like he said, was very excited for this race until ultimately being taken out.
Well, we talk about that DVP, damaged vehicle policy. You get 7 minutes to work on your car once you've been involved in a crash on track, and then you get a lap to go. You go back out. You got to meet minimum speed, and if you can't get your car repaired, you're done for the day, and that's the situation for them. So that's what he's talking about there. We look at the standings now as they run at the end of the stage, and a huge change, not just at the top and the advantage for Zilich, which was big anyway, but for all of those drivers right around the cut line based on where they were entering this race. Carson Kvapil came in below the cut. He's now +3.
That move you did where you jumped up in front of the 88, that was really good. Doing those kind of things, just trying to make something happen instead of sitting there not knowing what to do. That was a good move. But later, with like 2 laps to go, there weren't enough numbers up there, I guess, to do much at the end like that. 10-4.
So I've got to agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr., their team owner of the one car. We were talking about it in break with the one where he moved up to go to cover that top lane when there was only 2 or 3 cars. There wasn't enough momentum. It lost him a top 5 position coming into that stage to falling just to 9th, basically. Kim?
Yeah, and I talked to Carson about Junior being on the box. He said, we're kind of a bunch of misfits on this team. For some reason, it keeps everything running smoothly, having him on the box. And he actually said he likes when Junior occasionally chimes in on the radio.
Some of these cars you see up front stayed out at the end of the stage because they had pitted under that caution with 7 to go. So the front row, Dean Thompson, Kyle Sieg, big push outside lane 2, Jesse Love. He wins the race off pit road, and here he comes.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see Jesse Love not be very patient right here, want to get back to the lead. He's got Dean Thompson. You see they're locked together. They're gonna drive away a little bit. He gets off of him right there. The group behind him now is going to have a big run. Jesse's going to pull up and block right here, already to the outside of Dean Thompson.
Thompson did get credit for leading a few laps there under caution after staying out. Second time he's led this year. Had a great outing earlier in the campaign at Rockingham. And speaking of Rockingham, the guy that crossed the finish line first there before being DQ'd, Jesse Love, he's once again in charge at Talladega.
What about Taylor Gray? Started last, had an issue with the transmission in qualifying, didn't get to make a lap. It broke on his out lap, started at the back of the field after they got the car fixed. See him running right there behind Connor Zilich in 3rd place right now. And this is what Jesse Love wants to see. Look at all the single file that's going on. They've transitioned to the top of the track, and fans always ask, why do you guys do that? It's never planned. It's just kind of circumstantial. It's the way it works out. But after the chaos we had in stage 1, you're totally content right now with moving to the top and riding around for a few laps.
And some of what caused this really early on is with some of those cars that stayed out, it really broke up the front of the field there. So they all navigated the top, and Jesse Love did a great job of just pushing out Dean Thompson. Connor Zilich drops to the bottom there, trying to get a push from Austin Hill. Almost gets tricked right there. See if he can clear the 2. I don't think that's going to be possible. He does. Wow.
What a move. Love thought about the crossover. Best buddies, trading spots at Talladega. You got to love it. This is a little rivalry building between these two.
Well, and the only reason that works is if you have a little bit of a run, the distance around the bottom is so much shorter, but you got to time it out right. It's got to be where you have the momentum on entry and then be able to slide up in front of the car. And Connor's in a great position leading, but he's got two of the best right behind him who are not going to want to leave him out front.
And the thing he's going to have to protect against is the 21 and the 2 basically doing the same move to him, but together there'll be no way to fight it, almost impossible to react to quick enough. So that's what he'll be watching for in his mirror. As they do that exact thing and drop to the bottom, forcing him to stay up top, and now the 2 RCR cars are leading the bottom lane.
Hey, some drivers we got to pay off. You mentioned Taylor Gray, starts in the back, has worked his way to the top 5. Blaine Perkins in the top 10 as well. At least he was last time around, scored 12th at this point. But he's another driver that started in the rear and has had some really good flashes in the draft. Love out front, 3 wide behind him. Sanchez down low. That red-white number 8 is Sammy Smith. Austin Hill working that group. A lot of Chevy presence at the front of the field.
Sammy Smith got so lucky right there. He went to block and didn't move up quick enough and then got stuck in the middle. And fortunately, a bunch of guys came down to help him, and he's in a good position, but that could have been disastrous for him.
Look at Daniel Dye, 4th car in line, bottom lane. Last time around, he was 12th. Now he's working on a spot inside the top 5. He is there.
48's super fast. We've seen him go to the back, and now you look, he's back up into 2nd place right now. He's made some good decisions, has worked his way all the way back to the front.
And look what's happened to Austin Hill when you get in the wrong lane up top right there. Didn't have the help. He's fallen all the way to the backside of the top 10 here from fighting for the lead just a lap ago. That's how quickly things can happen, not in your favor if you don't choose the right lane and have the right help.
Fruitful day for Sammy Smith, who continues in the top 5. Came in -24, +20 right now for the man that won here at Talladega last fall. Mayer comes in above the cut line. He's now fallen below, and Quattle's lost a lot of positions since the restart. He's now 23 below that cut line as they run almost halfway home stage 2.
Top is getting super organized, but the guys on the bottom aren't content, and they're not just going to ride right here. You see how much shorter. You see Sammy Smith slide up in front of Sanchez there. The 2 car, though, is doing an exceptional job. He's one of the few that can control both lanes, not lose the lead, or if he does, he only falls back a position or 2 and then is able to get right back to the front.
Let's give some love to Christian Eckes, blue and yellow, number 16 in the low lane, solid in qualifying today, made the 2nd round. He has not finished in the top 10 all season long in the draft, but that team has speed. Colleague has got a great history, especially here at Talladega, and this kid from New York showing what he's got. Side by side for 2nd.
And I'm loving this, how there's no dominant lane. It seems like no one's content to ride up there. They just want to try and find a way to the front. The bottom lane can get the momentum to go towards the front. The top lane sometimes controls, but then the bottom lane forms up and has the chances. Jesse Love drops down to protect there against Christian Eckes. Felt like the momentum was coming there. Now Eckes to the top.
And the one thing that I would do if I'm leading this is I wouldn't run right up against the wall all the way around the top. I would almost run the middle and then kind of guard to my outside, because you cut a lot of the distance off, and then when those guys go to the very bottom, they're not able to cut so much off that they can slide up in front of you.
That early caution hasn't changed the level of intensity here at Talladega for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We look at our Mobile One leaderboard. Jesse Love out front. He's led 17 laps today. Eckes, Smith, Allgaier, Zilich there as well.
vision.
Closed captioning for this race brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. On board Ryan Ellis. Cruising in the draft, scored outside the top 25, but staying out of harm's way. And you know, growing up in the Midwest, Jamie, you and I know this, everyone would always say, if you don't like the weather here, just wait, it'll change. It's kind of like the race out front at Talladega. If you don't like the leader, just wait. It's going to change. Right now, Justin Allgaier, the man.
I was going to say, at the front of this field, there's no cruising. And there is so much movement happening constantly, lap by lap. Cars are going from the front to the back as you see Austin Hill get to the back of Justin Allgaier there at the front. Nick Sanchez is back into the top 3. I think it was about a lap ago. He was probably 10th. He keeps going back to front so often.
The one thing that I like to see Allgaier doing, though, is he's not committed to run that really top lane. And right before he went to break, I mentioned maybe kind of run the middle. Well, he's run the middle and the bottom, and he's been able to protect the outside and not, there's trouble for Taylor Gray. We talked about the transmission issue he had in qualifying. But they've got something else wrong here as he's coasting back. Let's listen to what he has to say.
It's blown up, that's what it is. Like, it might be a transmission, drive cap, I don't know. It thinks a pile.
Yeah, the back bumper there had a lot of fluid on it. It was real dark, which is probably an indication of some fluid coming out of that race car. So obviously mechanical issues continue to the 54 this weekend. Not been their weekend.
Ironically enough, it was the other rookie at Joe Gibbs Racing that had a mechanical problem that took him out here in the springtime, William Sawalich. Sawalich started front row today, currently 14th. Battle at the front continues to be between two veterans. Justin Allgaier leading Austin Hill. And as we come back to the start-finish line, this time 7 laps to go.
Parker, do you think the RCR cars are a little more vulnerable than what we've seen in the past? Like, I feel like in the past, it's just constantly they lead the whole race. We've seen a lot of different cars up front today.
And your indication of that is look where Jesse Love is. He's at the back.
Shuffled.
He just got shuffled all the way back. We've seen that happen to Austin Hill a couple times. If you don't choose the right lane, it just looks like the runs are so massive today. We talked about this in the pre-race show. Austin Hill mentioned it. Every Superspeedway race is different. They have their own personality. For whatever reason, they react differently. As Eric Almirola throws it to the middle there. But for that reason, you have to evaluate it on the day, and this one is showing to have huge runs and having the ability for everyone to make passes right now.
Allgaier's doing a tremendous job. He's running that low line. When he sees the run come on the outside, he'll move up and slide in front of him. He's able to get back down. He's done an incredible job of being able to maintain that track position better than I feel like we've seen anybody at this stage in the race.
Look at this 4 wide, 6 to go in the stage. Points, and there goes Leland Honeyman. Adeline Zillage was there, and Connor Mozak collected as well. Third caution of the day, comes out 6 laps to go, stage 2. And I mentioned William Sawalich, and there you see his race car.
A huge impact for Mozak right there. You saw him get turned and slide up head on into the wall.
Dean Thompson.
Oh, big hit for Thompson as well.
It's such a horrible feeling when you're in Mozak's position there, when you get turned up in front of the field, up the racetrack. A little damage there for Connor Zillage as well. The right front sort of pushed in. They might be able to push that out at least off the tire. But your eyes went directly to it, Adam.
My right front's down. You want me to come?
You hear the right front's down there for Connor Zillage. That 4 wide was so tight, and they weren't really in step. They were all sort of disjointed a little bit, and that's usually an indication of where you're going to see some bumper tag, just like we saw here.
Daniel Dye's right behind Jeb Burton. Oh, it almost looks like Daniel Dye moved up a little bit, and Harrison Burton was there, and he didn't know it.
Leyland Honeyman, the 70 there. That was the one right there behind Jeb Burton. But yeah, you're right. It's exactly that. It's when you're sort of not following the same lanes.
Hey, look, Jesse Love, outside lane. Look how close this is. He had gotten shuffled out, and right there, he barely gets through. And, you know, Harrison Burton, who was involved in that first crash earlier today, they repaired the damage, and he, too, is able to avoid this.
So we get another look at it here. Yeah, you see the 70 there. Leyland Honeyman just gets tagged maybe there by Connor Mozak a little bit, but the hardest part is when those cars aren't perfectly lined up and you're overlapping each other a little bit. It just is very confusing and you get disjointed from the wheel. The spotter can't really tell you what's happening. You end up with a result like this.
6 cars involved as we work our way toward the end of stage 2, under caution for a third time.
Daniel Dye and Leland Honeyman's cars. I mean,
Next Saturday, it all comes down to this as the top teams in the league go head-to-head for the ultimate prize and a season's worth of bragging rights. Don't miss the PBR Camping World Team Series Teams Championship from Las Vegas next Saturday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific. It's on the CW. So our third caution of the day is led to our second red flag. What do you do under red when you're racing here at Talladega? You just take a
little nap.
Why not?
Second driver we've seen do that. Jeb Burton there. You know, it is the most comfortable place. It's very warm, and sometimes you just want to take that chance to just decompress, close your eyes for a minute.
Let's get a report on Connor Zilic. They got some damage there. What's their story, Dylan?
Yeah, they do. A pretty significant right front damage. As you can see, we've gone red again here, so the work has stopped. But we have a replay of them working on that area of the car that I thought was so interesting to watch. Watch as they take this tire off here. They get a hammer underneath here. They start pulling on this right front fender. Watch it just snap back into place here. A couple more hits. I think the crew guy is going to get out of the way in time. He should.
Hey!
They kind of pull on it, and there it goes. It just snaps right back into place. So they've got a lot of tape and stuff on there, and they do have the electric saws out, so pretty significant right front damage. But it could have been worse, I guess, and thankfully there's composite bodies on these cars that work that way.
You know, the red flag coming out here, and you see the drivers involved in this crash, 6 of them. And, you know, Toyota paid the price here. It was Ford in the first crash of the day that had so many cars eliminated or damaged. But what I would say is this caution comes at an interesting time. And the fact that the red flag is out and puts everything on hold, it opens the door once we go back to yellow to open the pit lane. And maybe some drivers come down, get their service here, and stay out to gain some track position for the final stage when we get the yellow here in a handful of laps to wrap stage 2. So a few compelling things that could unfold here for these race teams as we look toward the end of this second stage.
And that decision gets easier based on where you're running at. If you're in the front, you're going to get stage points. You obviously would like to stay out. If you're towards the back of the pack on the lead lap, that gives you a great option if you don't think you can get to stage points.
I think the one thing right now, though, is we've had 2 massive wrecks in the first 45 laps. There's not as many competitive cars still left here. As we get this race back going, we'll see a smaller pack of competitive cars at the front here that will make it different. You know, those decisions
changes
different
the
for
whole
some of these teams.
complexion of
100%.
Kind of what you're doing.
And when we do get back going, it makes it different in terms of the energy within the pack. You'll have cars that are not normally up front running up there, so it makes the decisions different for the drivers who have been running up front the whole time. So it really changes things, including the strategy.
It also makes it harder to go from the back to the front, even though you have less cars. When you think it'd be less cars to have to pass. When you have less cars on the track, you can't get all 3 of those lanes working. Like we saw at the very beginning, it was incredible to see Sanchez and Sheldon Creed and some of those guys get the top working and able to drive up towards the front.
You know, this has been a Chevy track. They've won the last 12 here. Only 1 Toyota on the lead lap and only 2 Fords still running. It's starting to look like the bow tie will get it done again today. Under the second time at Talladega. You're not going to believe who I ran into in the grandstand today at Talladega. Carson Hocevar signing autographs, taking pictures. He's a man of the people. And now we do our playoff update, brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb. Allgaier leading this race, and of course we got a long way to go, but if one of these playoff drivers wins today, it locks him into the championship 4. Connor Zilisch got a real good opportunity to leave here with a spot in the championship 4 on points. Jesse Love has helped himself, came in plus 20, is now plus 30. Look what Sammy Smith and Carson Kvapil have done to help themselves. Great, because they were involved in crashes. Mayer, Jones, and Creed really have put themselves behind the 8 ball with 1 race to go.
I think no doubt if you'd asked Sammy Smith, would you be okay leaving here 5 up on the cut line, coming in 24 down, he would have taken it.
I said coming in to the weekend.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
This is a must-win for those guys below the cut line, especially those bottom 3. But the fact that Talladega is on the schedule, you wouldn't make it a must-win, right? Just because things can change so quickly, and we're seeing that play out. Look at this, and this is the reason we're under red. You had to clean up, you got to blow all this off, and we got a long way to go. Well, maybe not a long way to go. They're making some progress and should be back at it here pretty soon.
I found the beach at Talladega. We've used all of the oil dry in the state of Alabama, apparently.
Kim?
Yeah, and with us being in the midst of fall and sunset a little bit earlier than the rest of the year, especially when we race here in April, sun's starting to dip behind the front stretch grandstands, and drivers being made aware of a possible situation if we were to get another extended red flag. Here was the 21's radio transmission.
Reminding you, 6 p.m. is the cutoff for the race. We're obviously at 4:30, but this is our second red flag, so just reminding you of it, that's all.
And you heard him say 6 p.m. the cutoff for the race. We did have Dylan verify via a weather app here during commercial break that sunset here at the Speedway is 6:06 p.m.
So 6 o'clock, as you heard there, is the drop dead time. That's 6 Central, 7 Eastern. And how this will work if we get to that point, once we hit 7 Eastern, 6 local there at the track, we will have 2 laps to go the next time around. And so all these teams are aware of this, and that way that everybody's got a fair opportunity. Instead of just running to an unknown time, NASCAR, anytime they feel like darkness can be a part of the equation, will set this time, let all the teams know. Hopefully we're okay. Still got 90 minutes, and we're showing 49 laps to go, and we're going to cycle through this stage and all of that. But as Kim pointed out, 2 red flags today, we get another one, and we could be up against it.
And it's good to point out to your driver that that's a possibility, that is the case, so that if you run into that, say, under green flag, and if you hadn't told them for the first time, say, hey, the race is about to end 2 laps, 2 laps because of darkness, and you haven't told them that, they might say, what are you talking about, right? And obviously it changes the intensity level, the decisions you're going to make, and that sort of thing. So it's just good to keep your driver up to date on that situation. From in the car, we don't have any sort of understanding of time. It all feels pretty short at times, and then under these red flags, it feels very long, but you don't exactly know what time of day it is, so it's good to get that update.
Big one here today for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Big one tomorrow for the Cup cars. It'll happen on NBC.
You do not control your fate, whether you're in the front, middle, or the back. There's no safe place.
It can literally change in a snap of a finger.
Hurt, might be on fire.
Yeah, we're done. Talladega is going to have us all nervous.
Horse on, guys. This is honestly comical.
You can't avoid the chaos.
Let's go, baby. Yeah! Did we get it? Yeah, let's go, baby!
Here comes Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Holy cow, boys. Holy cow.
Nice work, dude.
Can't win the championship at Talladega, but you sure can lose it.
Coverage begins tomorrow, NBC 1:30 Eastern Time. Michael McDowell won the pole earlier today. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, other playoff drivers that will start inside the top 10. Second red flag has now been lifted. 10 minutes, 35 seconds. The clock there. They continue the work now on the 88. Keep this in mind. He's got that streak going. 18 consecutive top 5 finishes. So something we'll monitor as they repair the damage for Connor Zilisch, who's got that huge advantage over the playoff cut line. And we'll open pit road and see if anyone chooses to come down here, if they stay on track and chase the points as we anticipate the green flag late in this stage. Eckes, Harrison Burton, Josh Williams, Daniel Dye all making pit stops here. What about that 16, Dylan?
Yeah, it's been a really, really good day for these guys. Speaking with Christian before the race, he said, like everybody, if we can just stay out of this mess, I feel like we've got a really good race car, and they've proven that to be the case. His only feedback has just been that he was a little bit free earlier in the race. They'll go around here and change right side tires, and it looks like they may go around and make it a 4-tire and change and 1 can of fuel for the 16.
Oh, man, that is fueling it. Wow. The cap on the fuel can there came out. You saw the crew member pick it up there. That basically is what engages. You saw it missing from the fuel can to the left. Basically, that fell out and just had fuel go everywhere. So the fueler's connected to the car right now. That's showing that, but you see that piece comes out. That's not from the car. That's from the fuel can itself.
It's the valve cap.
Yeah, the valve cap, exactly. It popped out, and that obviously meant all the fuel rushed out that was still in the can.
When he burned out right there, it didn't hit a lug nut and ignite all that, because that was 5-6 gallons of fuel that ran out. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
Super scary.
But here's what I would say. You know, if you pit here, your thought process probably is you stay out at the end of the stage and you run till the end of the race.
Yep.
And so you want to make sure you get it full, because you are stretching that fuel limit here as far as how much you put in the tank and what you have to run to the end of the event. So something to monitor with that 16 team and Christian Eckes as we head towards the checkered flag.
And it's a great point, because his indication to take that out, as you saw, was sort of as the fuel starts to rush back up, but do you know if that can was really filling or not? So we'll have to see what they decide to do there in the 16.
We're showing 26 cars on the lead lap. 8 of those made pit stops. Allgaier is the race leader. Smith, Hill, Almirola, Quapple, the top 5. And when we come around this time, we'll do the choose. So we do the choose with 3 to go. We'll have a 2-lap shootout to end our second stage of the day. 2-lap shootout reminds me of overtime at the end of the race. So many times we go to overtime at Talladega. So what we're going to see here is a good preview for us and a good opportunity for the teams to get in their mind what to anticipate. Riding with Jesse Love, wheeling onboard camera. Pole sitter has led 19 laps today and 8th prior to the choose here.
You see that damage there for Jeb Burton ahead of him on the left rear. This is one of those races when you've had big wrecks like this. You have cars that are running around with different amounts of damage. One of the things you'll do when you're choosing here is choosing ahead of you, looking at who has damage. Do I want to push that car? Can they
a good bumper or not?
Can they take a push? Right. Am I going to get attached to that you know,
the junk?
Yeah, the junk on the tape or the bear bond on the back. Like, you're asking yourself all those questions, and there's so many unknowns as you go later in super speedway races like this that have massive crashes and you have so many damaged cars out there.
Allgaier, the control car, takes the outside lane. I'm wondering if this isn't a team thing, because if he slides down, you'd have 3 junior motorsports cars lined up in that low lane after we get back to the green flag. Eric Almirola up there in the top 5 as well, Dylan.
Yeah, and we'll give you a quick Toyota driver update on the only Toyota car left in the field that still has a legitimate shot to win this race today, and that is Eric Almirola. You know, you guys talked earlier about maybe not thinking the RCR cars were quite as strong as they've been in years past. I think some of that is due to some of the gains of the other manufacturers in the engine department, namely the Joe Gibbs Racing Group. Spoke with Eric earlier today, and he was very, very complimentary of all the work that has gone on back at the shops in North Carolina to get these Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota engines up to snuff on these super speedways. That helped them in qualifying across the board, and obviously a faster engine helps you in the race too. So Almirola doing a nice job inside the top 5.
Almirola, the last driver to win here in a Ford, did it in 2017. Toyota hasn't won here since 2014, and if he wins in a Toyota today, he's going to have to do it with no drafting help from his partners. As Dylan said, just no other Toyotas out there.
Talk about the sun setting. It's obviously going to be blind right there in that section of the racetrack off turn 4.
Race to stop suicide onboard camera with Daniel Dye. He's shown 14th, and one of those drivers that just made a pit stop. Christian Eckes made a pit stop. We talked about the fueling problem there. It's 13th as we get ready for the restart. 2 to go, front row, Junior Motorsports. Control car outside is Allgaier, inside Sammy Smith. Quapple is there. They need stage points.
Go.
It's go time again at Talladega.
Both lanes really well connected in the first 2 rows.
Really good pushes because you don't see the cars moving around a lot, so it means they're locked together, secure. they'll be able to stay locked together until they get to the backstretch, and then NASCAR is going to expect the car behind to lift a little bit and just get off the bumper for a second. You see that outside lane, though, still attached.
Yeah, and something to take note of. That's the second time we've seen that, where that outside lane is able to disconnect the bottom lane by side drafting the one car of Carson Kvapil. Just couldn't stay connected to his teammate there, the 8 of Sammy Smith. That gives the outside the momentum. Justin Allgaier to the lead, and Austin Hill fighting for second.
It really disjointed on that restart. You saw the front two rows get apart, and then Carson was actually on the inside, moved up into the outside row. That bottom lane right now looks helpless, but Sanchez is getting a little bit of a run here. We know he's had one of the faster cars today. He's been able to make his way to the front.
Final lap, stage 2. Allgaier out front. Hill coming to his outside. Kvapil giving Hill a push. Side by side for the lead. Side by side back there for third. They're lined up side by side really through the top 10 here.
Kvapil had a good amount of momentum there on the top side to the outside of his teammate. He's going to get to the back bumper of the 21 with no one behind them. So few cars in this lead pack after all these crashes.
Eckes made the pit stop. He's back in the top 10. Sanchez making a move in the bottom lane. Austin Hill controlling this thing. Won the opening stage, won here in the spring, and trying to get the sweep.
Bottom had quite a bit of momentum right there. They finally got all organized, but Austin Hill has just done an incredible job once again at putting himself in the right position.
And when they're side by side behind you, they can't make a move. Get out the broom, sweep for Austin Hill. He takes stage 1 and stage 2. 8 stage wins this year for driver 21. And the second time he swept stages here at Talladega. Also did it back in 2022. Picking up where he left off because he got the checkered flag here in the springtime. Allgaier, Kvapil getting some points. Jesse Love, Sammy Smith do as well. Final stage on the way from Central Alabama. CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle home, auto, and motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Golden Corral. Golden Corral honors our nation's heroes. NASCAR Xfinity Series getting us going on another CW Sports Saturday that's just outstanding. College football doubleheader coming up. After us, Washington State goes to Charlottesville, looking to pull the upset against 18th ranked Virginia. Then Lafayette takes on Oregon State in a non-conference showdown. CW Football Saturday comes your way next right here when we're all done in Talladega, Alabama.
What a day. I mean, beautiful outside.
You know, and I would say this, and we were talking about this during the break, just the lack of rhythm that this race has had because of the 2 red flags and, you know, the extended time that these guys have had to sit and wait and ride under caution. And now you go to the final stage, and it's only going to be right around 40 laps, right? And so that this is tough to adjust. And you guys talked about how few cars are still alive. That also is going to change the way you react in the draft. And with that, we retire another one. Ryan Ellis going to take off the helmet, be done for the day.
And what we loved so much in the first stage, at least in the first 10 or so laps, was the amount of action moving around. The run seemed really big, but what does that lead to? It leads to big wrecks because those runs are hard to sort of protect and maneuver, and so you end up with a lot of cars wrecked, and now we have a lot less energy.
Progressive Pit Road is open, and you want to take care of your business here, have that track position be in control as we begin the final stage. Daniel Dye stays out. Austin Hill and others coming in. Kim Coons up.
Yeah, top of your screen, he said that was fun. Heck of a car. He said, I don't really need anything. I can get a little tight with the right front, but it's manageable. Right side tires only and fuel for the 21. Carson Quapple, no complaints on the handling. Right side tires also the call for that Chevrolet, Dylan.
Christian Eckes, you remember, pitted 6 laps ago. They're going to pit again, do a quick top off of fuel. This should cycle them closer to the front. Justin Allgaier, bottom of the screen, said that he loved his race car. Said he was a little bound up, but really happy with it overall. 4 tires and fuel for the 7.
You know, we speculated Eckes may pit the last time so that they don't have to pit here. Instead, they just come back, top off the fuel tank. He wins the race off pit road, so it nets out nicely for him. +3 as he wins the race off Progressive Pit Road. Hill, Quapple, Honeyman right behind him. Zillage back in. He's still on the lead lap.
one more stage to go here at Talladega. Race 2 of the round of 8, and no rest for the drivers as they get ready for this. The anxiety ramping up, but maybe a good time for you at home to take a snack break, or maybe grab a Krispy Kreme like we're doing here in the CW Garage this afternoon. The hot light is on as we head into the final stage. Be sure to stay tuned for the winter burnout presented by Krispy Kreme and learn how Krispy Kreme can help you fuel up on Monday. Adam.
Thank you, Carla.
You ever stop when it says the hot now?
Well,
don't lie. Come on, you know you.
Why would you
all have?
Why would you out me right here live on the air, exposing my bad habits, or maybe they're just my good habits?
So I'm surprised there's so many left already by this point. You know, I feel like those would just slowly leak away with all the production staff, us here.
How about this? Daniel Dye stays out, so he'll be on the front row with his teammate, Christian Eckes. And we talk about those playoff drivers chasing stage points. Allgaier's done a nice job. Jesse Love, 2 weeks in a row, collecting a ton of stage points. Will help keep him well above the cut line. Good day for Quapple. Sammy Smith needed him, got him as well.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the tires, 2 tires. Allgaier got 4. Handling was a big deal here earlier this year. You see Allgaier right there. 5th row on the inside, the red number 7. See if he can get back to the front.
Go.
Final stage underway, Talladega.
Carson Quapple's done a great job there linking the back bumper of Daniel Dye, and he did that on the last restart as well. Seems to be really good at making sure he gets that back bumper and stays there. We'll see if that outside disconnects the bottom there. They both disconnect.
Look at the 19 getting to the one's back bumper. Can he push him back up there? They all kind of stalled each other out here on this restart. Sammy Smith jumped to the outside really early right there.
Big run for Jesse Love on the bottom.
Daniel Dye leading this race. 3 rookies out front, a couple of veterans behind him.
Sammy Smith's got no help out there.
When it's taken longer to get organized, because you mentioned that the less cars being on the track, it's a little harder for all of it to get organized. It's going to take a couple of laps. You saw that the last time. It took 2 or 3 laps for everybody to figure out where they wanted to be. You see Jesse Love right there in that red number 2, not content being on the bottom, making moves. Got a really fast car. He's behind his teammate now. The rest of the field does not want to see those 2 RCR cars get hooked up together. We know how fast they are.
Dig. Coming to you.
Jesse Love got to the outside of his teammate up there on the 3rd lane.
Look at Almirola shoving his way up the middle. Already won in this round, 2 wins in the playoffs for Almirola, who's going to the championship for, thinking about the owner's title. Fresh off a victory at Las Vegas, number 19 back on point, and he's doing it by himself. No other Toyotas out there to help him in the draft.
See what Eric can do to manage these. You see behind them, there's really not one lane that's super organized. There's a gap between all those guys. I like Sammy Smith in the 8 and Jesse Love in the 2 on the outside. Both those cars have been fast all day long. Eckes leading that group. He's going to get to the outside of Eric. I think Eric's content with the 21 behind him, though. He could have moved up in front of Eckes. He knows how fast Austin is. The 48 of Sanchez behind. Look at the run they're going to have right here.
Right here.
They're hooked up.
Wow, and dancing.
What a run.
How about 4 rookies in the top 10? And one of them's not named Connor Zilisch. I mean, this class is so deep, and several of them surfacing here.
See a lot of migration to the top. I think Eric's going to kind of run the top down the straightaways, the middle through the corners. They're wanting this to get single file so everybody can relax just a little bit. We've seen earlier in the race that nobody's been content riding like that.
And if you're in Jesse Love's position as Daniel Dye has lost his help here on the bottom, you're trying to sort of understand where's the energy going to come from with all these different cars now up front. Not as many as the competitive cars we had earlier in the race. You're not exactly sure who can start, who can push you, who can generate the energy behind you to make some passes and move forward. So it makes it sort of a guessing game through these first few laps of this stage to understand exactly who's fast, who has too much damage, and assessing that to understand where the runs are going to come from.
Cousins working together in that bottom lane. Jeb Burton, Harrison Burton involved in that first crash inside of 10 laps to go stage 1, and they are back in the top 10.
And if you look 4 or 5 rows back at the 2 of Jesse Love and Sammy Smith, I see them really connecting on the straightaways. You can see the back of the cars moving around, and that's when there's connection. You see the 8 gets back to his rear bumper right here. I think that's Honeyman behind the 8. Those guys trying to get a push. You're trying to move your whole row forward.
When you guys talk about how every race here takes on its own personality and some faces in the top 10 you don't always see there, so who do you trust? Who do you work with? Who do you hang out? There's a whole lot to manage for all these drivers and the spotters that are calling the shots for them.
And what a move there by Jesse Love. Got to the outside of Christian Eckes. He gets stuck in the middle. Jesse gets the back end of his teammate there. Sammy Smith followed him. Christian Eckes is going to go to the back of this pack as Sammy Smith is getting the left rear there of Jesse Love.
Look at that push down low. Jeb Burton shoving Harrison. They're 4th and 5th in the running order.
Well, Burton was the big benefactor of Love and Sammy Smith getting together because they both had to check up, lost their momentum. Jeb was able to slide up and puts himself in another great position towards the end of this.
Heading toward 30 laps to go.
Got to protect the top right here if you're Jeb Burton. Jesse Love hung Eckes out the last time. That's where that momentum is coming from. You see Hill gets to the inside of Eric Almirola. Eric's best friend's going to be an outside row.
Yeah, man, that's Harrison Burton. You got a Ford and a Toyota trying to work together, and Burton just goes all the way back to the bottom. Major crossover. Harrison Burton getting a shove from behind by Jeb, his cousin, 25 on point. Incredible. These wrecked race cars have found their way to the point at Talladega, and Blaine Perkins is right there with him. Incredible rally.
And when we talk about not wanting to work with Austin Hill, you saw that in real time right there. The 25 did not want to push the 21. He dove to the bottom. The 27 of Jeb Burton, that orange car, dove with him to avoid the 21. They had the momentum in the bottom. They get to the front.
Jeb Burton was another one of those cars that took 4 tires like Justin Allgaier. You see, as this run goes on, his handling
Harrison's in the middle.
Going to become more and more important as they hang the 25 out right there.
Jeb slides up in front of his cousin in that middle lane, controlling the bottom lane now. 31, Blaine Perkins.
It's just incredible to me. Every time we talk about Jesse Love or Austin Hill getting hung out, just wait 30 seconds because they cycle right back up to the front. You see Allgaier leading this with Hill behind him. You see Sanchez right here. Talked about how fast his car has been all day long.
Allgaier, the reigning champ, got his 300th career top 10 last weekend at Las Vegas. All the things he's done in his career, he's never pulled into victory lane at Talladega, been close so many times. He leads Austin Hill right now, 32 laps to go.
I thought that Allgaier did as good a job as anybody we've seen at being able to control the lanes with those faster cars behind him. Jesse Love trying to do it all by himself right there. That's going to be hard when they get to the straightaway. Right here, the momentum is going to be on the outside as he tries to side draft a little bit.
I thought he would be a little bit more patient to wait to be able to do that with his teammate there, the 21 Austin Hill. Those two have done that in the past where they drop down together, leaving the leader a sitting duck. As Austin Hill dives to the bottom here.
Speaking of sitting duck, it was the 7 car.
It was the 7.
He got so far out front, and then the 19 gave the 21 a huge push right there.
And this is what you don't want to see if you're the competition. RCR cars controlling both lanes. Outside Austin Hill, inside Jesse Love. Coming back, we'll see 31 laps to go. We're finding a rhythm, and I feel like a fantastic finish is on the way. Closed captioning for this race brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. 28 laps to go. Talladega Superspeedway. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series on CW. Race 2, round of 8. Playoff driver wins. They're going to run for a championship in Phoenix. And we got a few of them in the mix, including our reigning champ, Justin Allgaier, who rides second behind Austin Hill.
Mentally, this is so hard because you have to be patient. You're wanting your spotter to count you down, how many laps left. Depending on which position you're in, kind of determines how late you can go. The farther back you are, the earlier you want to go. Every driver is trying to get their spotters to go talk to another driver of, can we work together? Yep. You just want one or two guys to pull down to open up an opportunity.
Nick Sanchez was impatient there, trying to get down and start to force a bottom lane to happen. And the way, you know, you get in this position, you have two options. It's island hopping, which is essentially going one by one and dragging a car back and going to the bottom and sliding up in front of them, or trying to do what Nick Sanchez is doing, which is hoping some others will come down with you and form a bottom line.
Hope's a terrible plan.
It's a terrible plan.
Yeah, it's a bad strategy. You know, look, if you see the drivers in the top 10 and you say, man, these guys aren't always here. I mean, Josh Williams would be one of those that doesn't have a bunch of top 10s, but he does have our Xfinity fastest lap today. And when you see the names on the board, this is what the draft produces. It's a great equalizer, and that's why you can see upsets at this place. If you're in it, you can win it.
And for these lesser funded teams and these races that have large wrecks, if you can stay on them and just keep running, these can be really big days like this that you start to see for Josh Williams. This is the opportunity races that they look forward to throughout a season. Lots of wrecks, taking out a lot of the front cars, the most competitive cars, highly funded cars, and now you have this opportunity to be up here at the front. And who knows what happens here with everything that can occur here in the next 26 laps.
You can hear Jeff Burton as we ride on board right here. You hear him kind of roll out of the throttle. It looks like everybody's just running flat out around the top, but you're not, because it surges. As he gets towards the end of the straightaway, he'll surge up on that car, and as if he lags back and lets the car behind him get closer, it then pushes him forward. So a lot of throttle manipulation, and Parker talked about island hopping. You can't leave too big a gap to the car in front of you, or the car behind will do that, and it'll cost you a position.
Wanted to do an update from that crash that we had there at the end of stage 2. William Sawalich involved, had a hard hit into the wall. He is awake and alert, but they have transported him to a local hospital for further evaluation, so we wish him all the best. 25 laps to go.
And one of the things that Austin Hill will historically do when he's leading these lanes like this, he's actually riding sometimes at part throttle, 50% throttle, even as low as 25% throttle, because he doesn't want to get pushed too far out and have a chance where Justin Allgaier can get a big run. And what does that do? It causes an accordion effect through the whole pack here. As you see, the two catches the 19 right there. Yeah. Well, as he'll catch 19, it causes an accordion effect constantly through the field, which is where you might see a mistake happen from someone. Let's take a listen to the Two's radio.
Almost all single file now behind. I'll let you know when they start to back off. I want to be the first one to lead the bottom. I know you do. I know the way you're built.
Everybody does. Everybody wants to be the first to open the bottom. But you got to take the risk of being the first to go down there to make that happen, or try and catch it if it happens behind you and make react accordingly.
And knowing that he wants to do that, if you're behind Jesse Love, you might move down early knowing you're going to have another car in front of you. Even though you can't be the first, you need to get 4 or 5 to go with you and get some momentum built up down there.
3 of the 5 drafting races this year won by Richard Childress Racing. Both their cars in the top 5 here. Austin Hill out front, 24 laps to go. Going to be 20 laps to go the next time around for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Talladega. It continues to be Austin Hill out front, Allgaier, Almirola, Love, Leland Honeyman, the top 5. Harrison Burton was getting aggressive while we were away at break. Also, saw Connor Zilic make an unscheduled pit stop. They've been fighting a tire issue. They've had a rub. He had a tire down. He makes the stop, goes a lap down. He's 25th, and it looks like that top 5 streak of 18 in a row is going to come to a close.
Oof. So the best spot for a right front to go down, up top, right next to the wall, essentially. So not too, not too hard to hit, but harder than you wanted it looking initially. Yeah, but not too hard.
In 20 straight starts had Zilic, and you think about how things ended here at Talladega in the springtime, and not his day today. Look at Sammy Smith out of line trying to make it happen.
Ian Christianakis finally joined Nick Sanchez, who had been the lone soldier on the bottom for a while here, and the reason they were gaining so much is the 21 has been backing up this top line. There goes Jesse Love. He said he wanted to lead that bottom line. He is now leading the bottom line.
Yeah, I would say he'll get back up in line right here, draft with that lead group, try to back off and generate a run on the entry to the corner, and then pull back down in front of Sammy Smith. I would say into turn 3, if they can have the momentum right there. Pulls down here. Does he have any kind of a run? A little bit. I don't think he timed that out as well as he wishes. He can slide back up, though. Wow, great job right there. That's the island hop that you talk about, Parker.
You know, it's interesting you try this now. Getting out of line makes something happen. And to me, it allows you to learn for later in the race what might be able to transpire, but it also gives you a chance to recover if it doesn't work out, because there is still an eternity remaining in this race. When they come by the start-finish line this time around, it'll be 18 to go.
Yeah, well, from about 5th back, they're getting impatient.
Yes.
Everybody's wanting to time this out. Everybody's wanting to be like Jesse, the first one to get to the bottom. And when we see that high shot, when you see the gaps, they do that intentionally because they're trying to generate some momentum for when they pull down and make that pass. We've seen a couple of cars pull down, though, but they had to get right back up in line. Not enough people were committed to doing it.
And when they do that and try to create those gaps, it gives this bottom lane a ton of momentum here. Shorter distance, even though they don't have the drafting help, they're able to make up distance through the corners and then try to side draft down the straightaways to start gaining some momentum.
Sammy Smith's begging right now. Please, someone in front of me, pull down so we can get a line formed. Watch how much ground he will gain when they get to the corner. Because of the distance difference, he'll drive up by 1 or 2 cars. They slow down just a little bit, whether it's from checking up, creating gaps, or just the distance overall. But then when they get back to the straightaway, it might be a little better here because he's got some more help now on the bottom.
Keep this in mind. Points are in. Every position is a point, and it's so tight at the cut right now between teammates Sammy Smith, Carson Kvapil, and even though they're done, I mean, Mayer and Jones still not too far back as we think about the elimination race at Martinsville, and those drivers, they're going to have a chance to go to Phoenix and run for the championship. 17 left at Talladega, and the mixing has begun.
Sammy Smith just needs 1 or 2 more cars up there to pull down in front. If one of them can get a run right here on the track and they get to turn 3, pull down and drive up beside Austin Hill, you're hoping you can side draft and pull them back. It's interesting that Sanchez not able to keep up on that bottom row. He's had a good car all day long, but not able to maintain with those other 2 cars up front.
And I'd keep an eye on that orange and black car behind Carson Kvapil. That's Jeff Burton. He was pretty aggressive in terms of pushing. He tried to go at one point with his team, his cousin there, Harrison Burton. It didn't work, but I look at him as one that could be one to drop down.
Thought Sammy Smith might have another run here. He has Honeyman behind him, pushing him. Thought he might be able to generate enough of a run to pull back down to the bottom. He's done a great job of being able to work that, though, and then slide back up in the small gaps that are in front of him. Same thing with Jesse Love.
Been a wild race today. A couple of big crashes. Produced 2 red flags, both of those coming inside of 10 laps to go in the stages, stage 1 and stage 2. But now that we've hit this final stage, a lot of good drivers eliminated, less cars in the draft, and we are in our best rhythm of the afternoon. And now that we're inside of 15 laps to go this time around, everybody is, running that outside lane, but we know it's just a matter of time before they start dicing once more. We've seen some experimenting. When does the next run come?
You can't wait too long. If you do, especially if you're outside the top 15, like Nick Sanchez, who's fallen all the way to 18th now at the back of this line here, you need this to happen sooner than later. Think about cautions that could potentially take laps away, and once it starts, you'll end up 2 and 3 wide, and then you can't go anywhere. So you want this to start happening sooner or later, especially if you're outside the top 10.
Well, and if you're asking at home, why doesn't everybody do that? We saw it work out for Sammy Smith. Sanchez did the same move. It did not work out for him. He has a good car, but the gaps didn't open up. We saw him fade all the way to the back of the pack.
Let's get an update. Allgaier running second, Dylan.
Well, just want to recap their day. Spoke with Jim Pullman, the crew chief, earlier today, and he said scoring points is our only goal this afternoon. They've scored more points than any of the other playoff guys they're racing, so that's mission accomplished. They can kind of go for the win now. Don't know if there will be any sort of team games being played to try to assist the 8 car if he drops down at all, to try to get both junior motorsports cars a little bit further forward, but Allgaier's liked his car all day today, is in a really good spot, Kim, to potentially lead the inside lane if somebody bails out of the top.
And Dylan, as we talk points, how about Sammy Smith and the ground he's made in the standings as they run +1, came into this race -24, and crew chief Philip Bell was very optimistic, said we need to make good ground in the standings. They've done that so far. He also said we have to race aggressively. Aggression was a word I heard from the team over and over again. We've seen that from Sammy today. He actually said you have to be aggressive to stay out of trouble, was his view. Didn't have a ton of confidence on super speedways before last year's win, but the team said after that win, something has kind of clicked with him. Right now, spotter Frankie Kimmel just giving him reads on where the momentum is going to be building so he can make moves when he needs to.
Aggressive. I think that was the drinking word in the garage this weekend, because everyone said it. It doesn't matter if you're playing offense, if you're playing defense, you have to be aggressive with your moves. And I feel like the best is yet to come in that regard as everyone tries to make something happen.
Christian Eckes drops down. Nick Sanchez finally has a friend there. They're fighting the side draft here down the backstretch. They can't get anyone to drop down with them. It's such a helpless feeling there. As Jeb looks down, he wants down there. I think he couldn't commit to it. His cousin let him back in line there. Those two worked so well together to get to the front earlier that I think they're trying to sort of set something up where they can work together again.
And I don't understand why Sanchez isn't side drafting. He's coming off the corner and staying way down. I don't know if that car's hot, and maybe that's why he's running down there, just trying to get air to it, but it's not helping Eckes in front of him at all. Those cars super slow on the straightaway by themselves. This lap traffic plays a huge effect also as you pass those cars. It'll slow down the cars that are initially passing them from the air and allow the cars behind to catch up a little bit.
And one of the things that's hurting the ability of Sammy Smith to maybe make a move here, maybe Jesse Love, as you look at who's behind them. You have Leyland Honeyman, who has a little bit of left front damage, so he's probably content to be riding right there. Josh Williams, obviously running the top 10, which is not often for that car. Probably content to be there right now, not trying to make any sort of moves to take them out of that position. And so they're sort of lockstep and not allowing any sort of momentum or cars to drop down that far up.
Well, and if you don't have a fast car, your best strategy is to commit to whoever's in front of you. Don't try to be a hero and make the move. If you don't have a quick car, get behind a quick car and follow them through.
RCR's led 50 laps today, 31 out front for Austin Hill, who swept the stage. His teammate Jesse Love started on the pole. He's led 19 and rides third.
I feel like Love is trying to get that gap built. If you watch on the entry to 1, you'll see him back up, and I feel like he's intentionally backing up to Eric to try to get that run time out. You'll do that multiple laps in a row to try to figure out where you can let up, how much you can slow down, and you're also trying to mess up the rhythm of those two in front because they know you're doing that, so they're backing up as well. But as you see him doing that, that's intentional. That's trying to figure out how much can I slow down. Now I'm wide open. How much of a run can I get down the front straightaway? Can I back up into Eric Almirola, who's right behind me? You're trying to work that all out and hoping that your plan works when you need it.
Right, and it's a delicate game. You're using the brake, you're lifting a bit, you're trying to figure out that rhythm and mix of the pedals to figure out exactly how to do that, where the timing works best. Should it happen on the front stretch? Should it happen on the back stretch? These are all the things you're testing and plotting right now when you're in his position, thinking that, hey, this could ride up top all the way to the last lap. What's going to be my move? I've got to figure that out.
10 laps to go, and you think about the historical perspective, Austin Hill being out front and an opportunity to get to double digits in wins. at the drafting tracks. He's already the all-time wins leader. Look who he's in front of. Earnhardt and Stewart are Hall of Famers. They have 8. Dale Jr.'s in the Hall of Fame. He has 7 drafting wins in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Hill could hit 10 today and sweep the season here at Talladega.
I have watched hundreds of races on tracks like this. I've been a part of a lot of them, and my heart still takes off when he gets to the end. And you still, because you know all of the thoughts that are going through these drivers' heads and what they want to have happen and what they're trying to make happen. And it doesn't take just the move you make. It takes the people around you to make decisions as well that don't crush you and that can maybe benefit you as well.
Just big guys, be ready, be paying attention. The move can come at any time from anybody.
Right, and that's what you're doing if you're in his position, Austin Hill. You're just simply thinking, where's it going to come from? Where's the run? Who's going to make the move? Where's the line going to happen? As we see that some of the cars back there trying to make something happen on the bottom, led by Nick Sanchez. He's been the most aggressive at that throughout this entire run. Jeb Burton looks like he tried to get there and help them. That's not working out for him. And as I look back there, I see Eckes, Sanchez, Daniel Dye. Why not? You know, at this point, Carson Quapple, for sure. Why not try and help that bottom lane? Get down to the bottom, try to make some momentum.
And I mean, obviously I love Hill's position because he's leading, but I also like the fact that if Allgaier pulls out, it's his teammate behind him. You got to think if Jesse Love has a choice to help Allgaier or help Austin Hill, he's going to help his teammate.
Hey, I think Daniel Dye listened to me. He dropped down right there.
8 laps to go, and you talk about when do you make the move. And the other thing I would add now that we're inside of 10 laps remaining is the reminder, once you take the white flag, if the caution comes out at that point, the race is over. And so you want to make sure you're in the right position at the white, because you may not get a chance to make that move if the caution flies. Just another thing to have in the back of your mind as we come to 7 laps to go.
If I'm Allgaier, though, if I have my choice, I don't want to make my move for the last lap. I want to wait as long as I can, and it's so hard inside of the car. They're counting these laps down for you, but you want to wait till the very end. If you're back where Eric is, you want to do it with like a couple of laps to go, because you might need a little more time.
It's the weirdest feeling because it's sort of calm. Your heart rate can be a little bit lower, and you're just waiting for that moment, anticipating it almost. It's like watching a scary movie and waiting for the jump scare. You know it's coming, but you just don't know when. That's how some of these drivers are feeling as they ride this line right
now. You're running 10,000 scenarios through your head of, if he does this, this is what I'll do. You're going through all of those scenarios. You see those guys getting 3 wide in the back, and that only helps the ones in front. They got to be single file and kind of work as a group to get to the front. You can't be passing each other on the bottom.
Yeah, we talk about Austin Hill and how good he is in the draft, but you look at the top 5 and they're not there by mistake. It's their career victories in this configuration. Yeah, Austin Hill is the best, but Allgaier's done it. A pair of wins for Jesse Love. Eric Almirola has 2. And Sammy Smith went to victory lane in this race a season ago. They're all capable, and they've all done it before, experiencing a celebration in this style of racing. 6 laps, now 5.5 to decide it at Talladega.
Oh, the patience is just incredible of these guys in the front to lap after lap, to stay disciplined. As you see Jeb Burton, I think, pull out a line right here. His cousin Harrison right behind him. They worked really well together earlier in the race. Sanchez with them as well.
They were being aggressive just a lap or 2 earlier. They were trying to link up there with Nick Sanchez. They've now done that. The colleague cars of Eckes and Daniel Dye just got back to the top lane. They were trying to make the bottom work. Oh, real loose there for Jeb Burton as he went up in front of his teammate Blaine Perkins.
5 laps to go. Austin Hill leading, and I think about their regular season, won 3 times but lost all of his playoff points when he was suspended for that rough driving incident. And that loss of playoff points, even though he made the playoffs, he didn't have those to lean on in the postseason, so he failed to advance from the round of 12 to the round of 8. He's been eliminated. He said, my focus is go out and win races down the stretch, and that 21 car still a part of the owner's equation when you talk about the championship side of things. So something to race for as he comes back to 4 to go.
If I'm the 7 car, I'm going to watch my outside. Jesse Love's notorious to get to your outside. He's got a lot of momentum. His teammate in front of him, got to protect that. I saw the last time through. Oh, you see Blaine Perkins really loose right here, trying to block Eckes on his inside.
And I'm surprised. They had 4 or 5 cars at one point there on the bottom. Good cars.
Big picture here.
That just weren't able to make the bottom materialize. No one else wanted to drop down with them.
Same station. We're coming back to 3.
patience here, all the spotters. Everybody's preaching the same thing. So hard to do inside the car.
Well, I think one of those radios was Jesse Love, who's plus 44. You don't want to do something crazy to throw away the advantage you've created as you think about Martinsville next weekend, even though you desperately want to go win this race and lock into Phoenix.
Jesse Love's not thinking about that right now. I'm telling you, he's thinking, how am I going to win this race? He's not thinking about points. It's how can I get to the front right here?
Going to be 3 laps to go.
Allgaier starting to move around just a little bit, making Austin look in his mirror. These guys have been incredible. I can't believe we've made it to 3 to go without any of those front 5 making a move, trying to do something. There goes Daniel Dye to the bottom, joining Christian Eckes. I'd be surprised if Blaine Perkins is able to clear them if he doesn't drop down. Same with Jeb Burton. Feel like if they can get 5 or 6 cars in that bottom lane, this is gonna work. It should have some momentum. There goes Jeb. He drops down in front of Christian Eckes. He's gonna have a little bit of momentum. You saw him turn down. He'll be able to get a row or 2 right here. Pretty good position there for Burton if they can stall out the outside lane. You gotta think that one of these guys, Sammy Smith, is gonna be watching this. He's gonna do it. They see the momentum coming right here. Look at the Love. He's gonna have a run right here. Watch Jesse Love, the 2 car.
The 19
gonna make the move.
Austin Hill leading, 2 laps to go. Love out of line. Got Jeb Burton down there. Almirola continues to dance. Into the 19, and there's a crash. Caution is out. Almirola involved. Nearly went up and over. Did the 19.
Yeah, that was a big wreck for Eric. Got turned head on into the wall.
We'll go to overtime at Talladega.
Wow, that hurt.
Yeah, just a really hard, awkward hit.
But they got 3 wide.
Across the track. Yeah, it was, they were trying, the 8 of Sammy Smith went to the middle, got caught there, tried to slot back in, caught the 19 at the same time, and turned the 19 into the 27, who he ricocheted off of into the wall.
Damage for Jeb Burton, looking for his third win at Talladega. We just kept waiting.
He said he's all right.
Just kept waiting for that move to be made. And then once everyone started going, just couldn't get synced up. That's what shot Almirola out of line and brings out our 5th caution of the day. AMR safety team hustles over.
So here they are. It starts to get stacked up on the top. Jesse Love basically gets forced to the bottom in some respects. I think that was a tick earlier than he wanted to go. He probably wanted to wait till the 27 was further up there. Then the 8 there, Sammy Smith goes to the middle. The 27 puts him 3 wide, and at that point he wanted to sort of get back up. Eric Almirola was also trying to cover down at the same time, gets turned into Jeb Burton, ricochets off him into the wall in front of the field there. Really scary angle to be turned towards the outside wall.
Yeah, the 19 had a bad angle hitting the outside. As you see, the 8 gets just to his inside. 3 wide right there. Watch the 19. He gets turned up into the wall, and Daniel Dye also had a massive hit on the inside wall. Car almost goes over. Oof.
Big crash into stage 1. 10 cars involved. The crash toward the end of stage 2 collected 6 vehicles. And 5 cars a part of this one that will lead us to overtime to finish things at Talladega. And the headliner, Eric Almirola, running up front, turned hard into the wall. And as we talked about, nearly went up and over in front of the traffic that was driving by.
Such a shame for Jeb Burton as well, who's getting back up there in that bottom lane. And I believe, as you mentioned, Jamie, behind them,
yeah, the
Daniel Dye gets turned there.
Yeah, the 10 car is about 2 back right here. You see him in the red, yellow car. You see he gets spun around, and I saw the angle from the aerial view. He went down, huge impact on the inside wall as well. Very similar to what Eric had in the outside wall. Maybe see it a little better from this perspective. Watch the one car as well back there. He barely sneaks by. One of our playoff drivers sees all this, tries to get something. Look at Daniel Dye right here. Watch this impact right here. Oh, it's almost it was a front, but also almost a right side square into the wall.
Very reminiscent of Justin Allgaier there.
Yeah.
Off turn 2.
Yeah, reminded me what happened springtime a year ago.
Yeah,
that was at the end of stage 1 when Allgaier hit the wall so hard.
I think that Daniel saw the wreck and started to slow down, and Sanchez was behind him, just didn't see what was going on right there. As we ride on board with Jeff Burton, we'll see his perspective. You see Sammy Smith moving down. Jeb was just kind of along for the ride. Yeah. What he saw was he didn't know the 19 was going to get hooked right there by the 8. This is riding on board with Daniel Dye. You're going to see he slows down. As he does, he gets turned, and huge impact. See Daniel climbing out after the wreck. It's great to see.
For those of you joining us for ACC football, Washington State getting number 18 Virginia. Coverage will begin over on News Nation at 6:42 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 3:42 on the West Coast. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com. We'll get you to live coverage on the CW when we're finished here at Talladega. Kickoff is set there at 6:45 Eastern Time. Pit road open. Carson Quapple going to come down, get service, Kim.
Yeah, a couple of cars very concerned about their fuel, including the 1 and the 8 of Sammy Smith. He was trying to get off the banking, so I think this is just going to be fuel only for Carson Quapple to make sure that they can make it to the end with this extra time in green and white checker flag.
Yeah, I wondered about that, and you know, so many times overtime produces another
I think you're ran out right now. I'm out. I'm coasting to you. Be ready.
Think about the impact of this for a driver that
He's
came
wanting
in.
to push. You see him waving his hands, hoping somebody can give him a shove here.
And you come in 24 below the playoff cut line. You're running in the top 5 and in a position to do an outstanding job to help your cause. And already he's fallen 8 points below the cut line. You know, you're going to have more than 20 cars on the lead lap. So this is a very tough situation for Sammy Smith.
Try to get fuel to it before you try to fire. Just try to get fuel into the carburetor.
Oh my gosh, that's a helpless feeling for the 8 car right there to not have damage.
And when you heard them talking about getting fuel to it before with these engines, if you try and fire it and it's not got the fuel in there, it will fire for a second and then die again. It's a very hard process to get it refired.
Well, and then you think about teammates, right? What's going on is it going to impact everyone at Junior Motorsports? What's up with the 7 car, Dylan?
Yeah, let's get Jim Pullman, the crew chief for Allgaier's thoughts. Okay, teammates are starting to run out. What's the level of concern for you?
Very big. Yeah, we're going to have to come down and top it off with fuel with the point situation we're in. So, yeah, we're going to have to.
All right, you feel like you guys are going to be able to drive back through here?
Yeah, I think so. We'll be all right. There's enough time.
All right, they got to get to work here on the 7 car. They were about 2.5 gallons to the good when that yellow came out, and then with the 1 and the 8 starting to run out, the decision made come down and just be safe.
You know, here's the other thought on all of this, just to infuse a little more drama, and that is the sunset rule. As the sun continues to set here in central Alabama at 7 Eastern Time, 6 o'clock local. Once we hit that time, there will be 2 laps to go in the race. Now, right now, once everything cycles through, we get reset, we should be fine. But something you have to be aware of if you're these race teams, should we get a couple of more overtime sessions.
This worked out. It's going to be close, though. This is going to be close. Does the 8 beat them off pit road?
I think he's going to make it. It looks like to me like he's far enough in front of him. He's going to just clear them.
And all you do in this situation is stay on the lead lap, right? I mean, you just got to be able to make that work, and he does.
He got to push just in time.
And he had to be incredibly patient there because you can't just plug it in and start to fire the motor. They have to make sure it has fuel pressure and then fire it, otherwise it'll die, Kim.
And you see Jesse Love, they're going to go on offense and take tires since they had to come for fuel anyway. He had thought he had saved enough, but then as that caution came down, or under the pace laps, the caution laps, he did say he lost fuel pressure. So better safe than sorry, they're going to fill it up.
So Jesse Love pits. Let's get his team radio. Here's Austin Hill.
Yeah, I just stuttered a little bit for some reason, or sputtered, I mean. Yeah, if you think you're out, we're going to have to come. I probably should have pitted. 7 of the 2 just pitted. I didn't even know it was pitting. I was sitting here talking, my bad.
So the teammate feeling the other side of it. And boy, has this race been turned upside down. Caution comes out, a lap and a half to go, and we knew it was tight for everybody based on the way the stages were set up and when you would make your pit stops. And because we've gone to overtime running these extra laps, it has compromised the situation for a lot of these race teams.
Well, and historically, when you're riding a line up top like you do there, that's when these teams will save a lot of fuel. You're able to ride partial throttle. You can extend it very far. We see that at Atlanta often at those races. But he didn't know.
And he was leading the top. So most likely using more fuel than anybody else. And the further back you are in that top groove, the less fuel you use. But you got to think all these guys get very similar fuel mileage, and to see all of those cars having to pit, knowing they came to pit road the same time, you got to think the 21's going to have to pit here.
And you see all of them on the flat. That's because the fuel runs away from the pickup, which is at the right rear corner of the fuel cell. So they'll all ride on the flat off the banking when they're going slow here, trying to keep fuel going to that pickup and obviously using as little fuel as you possibly can. He stays out again.
Green-white checkered at Talladega. It's a long time.
Well, and then you worry about if you have a stumble when you go green, and what that does to stack everybody up and create another caution and have a bunch of damage.
So the spring race here last year, we were in this same position late in the race. My car stumbled as we got going in the lead. The 2 got in the back of us. We ended up wrecking. That's the risk. If it even stumbles for a second, if you have another car right behind you pushing you, that could mean you're turned to the wall after that.
We're doing the choose here. And you look at those playoff drivers that made pit stops. Carson Kvapil, the best of the bunch, going to restart just outside the top 10, but he's got a real opportunity to make something happen here, especially when you consider all those drivers in front of him did not pit.
Well, we're going to have some more fuel issues with what we've seen.
But look at this and the opportunity here. I mean, we got Austin Hill, who's the best ever in the draft.
Yep.
Behind him, a bunch of drivers, some that have never won in the draft and not won at all in their career.
I mean, it's just drafting off of there, and there's zero still beside all those other guys. Yeah.
I mean, Honeyman's never won. Williams, Eckes, Blaine Perkins, 7 of the top 10 have never won in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
And for these cars that chose the outside lane, they're having to ride through the banking here slow, as those cars that are on the bottom lane can go to the apron, which has a lot less banking, keep more fuel to this right side of the fuel cell. You'll see them keep weaving. That's not to help their tires out. That's to keep the fuel at the back right rear corner of the fuel cell.
Overtime rules, 2-lap shootout. Once a leader takes the white flag, next flag ends the race, whether that's the caution or they get back to the checkers. But what the top 10 definitely does not want to see, caution before we get the white flag, which means another restart. We have unlimited attempts, and with the fuel question marks for all those drivers in the top 10, multiple overtimes could be disastrous. Here's 21 Radio.
Almost like we have to go bottom just because of the fuel situation. For sure. We're overthinking it. We got to race. What it is, what it is. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
They're in a unique position because they're out of the playoffs for the drivers portion of this, and they're going for the win. He's going for his 10th win on a drafting track.
All these cars trying to swerve that fuel. You don't want to have an air bubble in that fuel system.
Overtime at Talladega, presented by Credit One Bank. Front row, Austin Hill and Josh Williams.
So far, so good. It looks like all those cars are accelerating. You see Honeyman's giving a big push.
I think Josh Williams is out.
Oh. And look at Carson Kvapil. He got fuel, working that outside lane. Austin Hill away with the race lead. Can he hang on?
Carson's still got a lot of momentum. Looks like most of those cars are going to go with him. Sanchez stuck in the middle. Carson might be in a great position right here because he is going to have the most fuel.
Eckes jumps up in that outside lane in front of Kvapil.
But can the 21 even make it? A massive gap out there. Eckes down to the bottom.
Honeyman hanging with Austin Hill. Remember, once we get the white flag, next flag ends the race. Quapple coming strong in the outside lane.
It's so unorganized right now. Carson fortunate to get by Blaine Perkins right there. As Eckes is in the outside row, we'll see where the momentum's going to be. Sanchez has a big run through the middle.
Through the tri-oval, back to the start-finish line. White flag is out. Next flag exited Talladega. Austin Hill trying to get the season sweep.
Who has enough gas, or do they have enough gas is the question right now.
And look at Justin Allgaier down here on the bottom right now, contending for second.
What a comeback this would be for the reigning champ, trying to lock up a position in Phoenix. His young teammate trying to do it as well.
Before he gets turned.
Sanchez into the wall. If we get a caution, it's over. Hill leads. Eckes is second. Quapple is third.
They're going to have a little bit of a run. If the 1 can get to the 16's bumper, they might have enough.
Can the 7, look at the run the 7 has getting to the 1. Can they push him?
Off the turn forward, back to the tri-oval. Austin Hill leads. Outside lane, Carson Quapple. Back to the start-finish line. Here they are.
Hill's out of gas.
Austin Hill hits one and wins. 2 in a row at Talladega for driver 21.
It looked like Hill was swerving coming to the line. Like it was...
baby. Oh my God. You talk about some damn domination. Let's go. Hell yeah.
He wasn't worried.
Look at that top 5. Austin Hill, Carson Quapple, Justin Allgaier, Christian Eckes, and Cesar Baccarella with a top 5 finish. Unreal.
Take that, haters. Let's go.
I think he was weaving, because if you look at the 1 of Carson Quapple, he was weaving, just trying to find a way to get beside the 21, and potentially if the 21 ran out of fuel, would have had the momentum to the line. Not to be.
14 career wins for Austin Hill. 10 have come in the draft. 2 at Talladega. And this had been the place where he couldn't get it done. Prior to this year, even though he had been good at Talladega, he had never finished the deal, had never had a top 10 finish at this place. Wins in the springtime and dominant today, leading 48 laps, sweeping the stages, and hanging on in overtime to punch out another win.
Talk about it every time we come to these type of tracks. Best drafting driver, also in the best car. And when you put that together, it's incredible what Austin Hill, that whole RCR group has been able to do. Those guys in Welcome put a lot of effort in to these type tracks, and Austin's been able to capitalize on it for him a lot.
And now the victory burnout presented by Krispy Kreme, because every win deserves something sweet. And so do you. Head to your local Krispy Kreme on Monday to get an original glazed dozen for only $12 with the code BURNOUT. And before you ask Jamie, yes, I'll make my way to the drive-thru.
That's right. So good. Some donuts for the donuts.
I like it. It's a good play.
Let's talk about drivers clinching a spot in the championship 4. Hill does it on the owner's side, but on the driver's side, Allgaier, for an 8th time in his career, is going to the championship 4. Just remarkable what he's done. He'll have an opportunity to defend his championship in Phoenix. And his teammate, the rookie sensation who's been outstanding all year long, had the top 5 streak in today, but Connor Zilic is going to Phoenix to run for the championship, fitting for him after recording 10 wins on the campaign. Quite a day at Talladega. It takes us overtime to settle it. Fuel mileage, a part of the equation. But it doesn't matter what you throw at him. Austin Hill always finds a way in the draft. Celebrating for a 2nd straight time at Talladega. We hear from Austin Hill next on CW. You've tuned in for college football. You can find Washington State and Virginia airing right now on News Nation. We'll get you there as soon as we wrap things here at Talladega Superspeedway, where Austin Hill has won and trying to make his way to victory lane. I think he's lost. We update the standings. One race to go in the round of 8. We told you Zilich and Allgaier have clinched a spot in the championship 4. Jesse Love is really good on points at plus 40. Yeah, look at Quapple there, plus 11. Sammy Smith, 11 below the cut line. Let's hear from that man that finds himself above the cut right now with 1 to go. Carson Quapple with Dylan.
Yeah, they were minus 11 coming in, plus 11 now. That last lap looked so chaotic. How much of that was you just driving on instinct? How much of that was you listening to TJ up on the roof to guide you through all that chaos?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all about the pushers behind you and where the air is and stuff. And we were able to jump up right away on the start and gain a few rows by rolling the top. We had some help behind us that was kind of propelling us through the field. And once you get racing in the top 3 like we were, or top 5 like we were there in the last lap, it's really anybody's race to win, right? Obviously, I think the favorite is the leader, obviously, but whenever you have a big run of that, and the 7 did a great job pushing me by the 16 and almost getting me to the 21, but just can't thank these guys enough on this. Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops, Clarion Technology, Chevrolet. They brought me a car as fast as Xfinity Mobile all race, and I honestly think JRM really improved our speedway stuff since the last time we were here, and we all qualified almost in the top 10, which is not abnormal for us, but definitely a step in the right direction. So just can't thank everybody enough on this team for giving me a really fast race car, and it sucks coming up second, but we really swung the points quite a bit today.
Yeah, the day that they needed for sure. Even though it's not a win, still a really great day. Quapple in a good spot heading to Martinsville next week.
That's his 3rd runner-up finish of the year, 2nd in the draft, and now we do our Mobil 1 winning moment.
He was all over the track. You thought he was out of fuel, Jamie, but no, just blocking.
Let's get to Mobil 1 victory lane. Kim Kuhn with a winner.
Yeah, Austin Hill getting out of his car in victory lane here at Talladega to the excitement of his crew. Sweeps the Talladega races for 2025 and does it under the pressure of not only overtime but a fuel situation. Your teammate and a number of other top contenders had to come down for fuel. How nervous were you in the closing laps that you were going to run out?
Honestly, I really wasn't that nervous. As soon as my crew chief, Chad, said that we should have at least 2.5 gallons, I knew I was saving fuel, leading. We slowed the pace down a lot, leading the pack, and nobody was really making a move. So I was like, well, if we get a late race caution, I might as well just keep saving here. And so I thought that we were going to be close, but I thought that we were going to make it. I started having some fuel pressure issues like some of the others. I dropped down the apron, immediately came back up. That was one reason why I chose the bottom, but the bottom had been good all day. So, man, I can't thank all these guys enough, though, on this 21 team. Our Bennett Chevrolet was as fast as Xfinity Mobile all day. Everybody at RCR, ECR engines are so strong every time we come here. I wouldn't want to have anything else under the hood. But with how my last part of my season has went, without how the last half part of my season has went, with everything that's went on.
RC coming in for a hug.
Yeah, you did a great job, buddy.
Yeah, man. But with everything that's went on and getting knocked out of the playoffs, I knew I was still in the Owners' Championship, and that's one thing I want to do for that man right there, Richard Childress, is get him an Owners' Championship. If I can't get the drivers, we at least got to get the owners. So, so special. Always fun to be on these super speedways and to win here at Talladega back-to-back. That's something really cool.
Double-digit wins for Austin Hill on drafting tracks.
4th win of the year for Austin Hill. Gets the sweep at Talladega next Saturday night. He'll go for the sweep at Martinsville. That's the next stop, the penultimate race in 2025, and the one that will introduce us to the championship 4. Connor Zilich, Justin Allgaier have clinched. Who joins him? Find out Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time is when our coverage begins from the Paperclip on CW. Thank you for watching. Congratulations, Austin Hill. Football comes your way next.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Make way for the new kings.
We are the new kings, winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights. We are the new kings, this is our time to shine, set it off like dynamite.
Address the court from the throne newly minted. Crown adorn the dome, you want it, come and get it. We'll remember one thing.
We are the new
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.